All right, let's wait like one more minute. Hello, everyone. Just gonna give it one extra minute for everyone to join, and then we can start. 20 more seconds, and then off we go.
Before
There's a
we
whole.
get started, I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to say, if you want to introduce yourself in the chat um, while we're waiting, that might be a great idea. I can go ahead and start that.
Great. Thanks, Emily. Well, thank you everyone who joined the call so far. I see some names that I recognize. Welcome back to our webinars, and we started like a new series this summer. And this one, I just named it 5 Simple Steps to Secure your WordPress website. And as I mentioned in the email you received in the invitation, everything we're gonna do today won't require any like technical background. So anyone managing a WordPress website should be able to do those 5 simple steps. So before we go, for anyone else who doesn't know who we are, so I'll sub on myself. My name is Wasim Sadallah, and I'm the CTO here at Indie Tech Solutions. And we are a web agency working exclusively with nonprofits. We do website redesign, we do ongoing partnership, including like security and all of that kind of like good stuff for nonprofits. And on this call, I have my colleague Emily. Emily,
Hey, everybody. My name is Emily Risch. I'm a marketing and project manager here at Indie Tech Solutions. Welcome, and thanks for coming.
great. Thanks, Emily. So I just want to start with a very quick survey as like two very simple questions that will kind of like guide a little bit this conversation, how deep we gonna get. So, Emily, do you mind like launching the survey? It's like two very quick questions, and we'll go from there. So yeah, so the first question, it's kind of like more like generic, give us like an idea is like how confident are you with like the web security of your website right now? 1 to 5, very confident, we are all good, or we're not confident at all, like hackers are all around. And then up to you, like you think couple of things you would think will do that will make your website more secure. So we'll give it a few more seconds and then we'll close it. Cool. Do you mind like closing it, Emily? And let's just, if you can share the results, that will be great. And then we'll dig deep.
All right, sharing the results now.
Thank you. I don't see the results, Emily. Have you shared them yet?
Yeah.
Try again,
Let's
maybe. I don't know.
show correct answers to all.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you see it now? It says that, or I can read them too. Someone said that they were somewhat confident, and someone else said not very confident for the first one. Can you see them? It says I'm going to stop sharing. I don't know if others can see it. And then the second answer is it says, which of these do you think would
Oh,
help you make your
yeah, yeah,
website more
that's fine.
popular?
Yeah, I can see them now. Great.
Okay, perfect.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this is like a very good intro to what we're gonna cover today with these 5 steps because those like the was question number 2. And I would argue that um, following these 5 steps and doing them yourself will secure your specifically your WordPress website because we're talking about WordPress, but some of it could be applied to other CMS, other content management systems. So first one first is, and it's number 1, is to update your WordPress, right? And we're gonna go over all of these in detail. So I'm just gonna like list them here very quick. So one, since we're talking about WordPress, you wanna it's like the main brain of your website. So we want to make sure it's up to date. Then the second one, like I would argue number 1 source of all trouble for any WordPress website is the plugins, right? You want to keep an eye on those, and we'll cover that in a minute. Then we want to talk about like user management, like how many users you have on your website and how to kind of like manage, audit them. 4, it sounds like very technical, scary word like web access firewall, but it's not as scary as it sounds. Enabling it, setting up one is very easy, and it will secure your website and take it to the next level. And I will talk a little bit about that. And finally, is your hosting provider. That's like where your website physically is located. So you want to make sure that your hosting provider is secure and provide like minimum security items, and I will cover a few of those as well. So first one is WordPress. As I said, updating your core WordPress is very important because if you take a WordPress instance, any WordPress that is like latest version, it's very, very secure and it's very hard to hack. So that's why you want to be up to date when it comes to your WordPress version. So let's say the latest version is 6, just on the screenshot, but there is a newer version is 6.4 and your website is running 5.3. So that maybe could be a security concern because the latest version covers a lot of security concerns and security bugs that the WordPress team like working on and updates on a regular basis. And they do have a solid security expert teams behind the product, behind WordPress. So it's always, always advisable to update your WordPress on a regular basis. It's so easy to do it nowadays because once you log into the backend of your WordPress, it will tell you, there will be like a message on the top saying update your WordPress to the latest version. So that's like, if you don't do anything at all, just do this. There is one thing I want you to be a little bit like careful about when you update your core WordPress is testing sometimes. And by test, the best scenario, the best option would be to have a staging environment. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the staging environment when I talk about the hosting provider. But the idea is to test on a different environment to make sure that the update is good, then do it on the live website. Why is that important? Because sometimes if you update your WordPress, it could be some plugins that are not compatible with the newer version of WordPress and could break your website. So you just want to make sure that the updates are compatible with the plugins you have. And please, so I'm gonna go over these few steps, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them as we go. So, and then we can answer as many as possible during this or at the end of this presentation as well. So number 1, if you don't do anything, update your WordPress. Plus, if you have a staging environment to test, make sure everything there is good, then you can deploy to live. But because the core, once again, the latest, always keep in mind, the latest version of WordPress is very hard to hack. Um, okay. Number 2, which is what I would believe the main reason most of WordPress websites got hacked after the core WordPress updates is plugins. Plugins, as I said, I always say they are like your best friend and worst enemy at the exact same time. They're your best friend because you can do, that's the power of WordPress or of any CMS is this module. Like you can kind of like a Lego pieces. You can build stuff on top of each other using any kind of plugins. So instead of like trying to do it from scratch, which is great. The problem and the challenge with that is it comes security concerns. If uh, hackers can exploit one of the plugins that is part of your WordPress, so they will go and like hack your website because there is like a security breach based on that. So always say for all of the plugins on your WordPress website is just to install like the bare minimum, the ones that you must have. Keep it as a small list as possible. And other than security, actually, like plugins could like have some performance issues, like make your website slow or something. But most definitely is like for this session is security concerns. And the ones you have, just make sure they're like from a trusted source and update them on a regular basis as whenever there is a new updates. And WordPress is pretty good about it. When you go log into the backend and their plugins, you will see like a warning number and their plugins like in red. It'll like will be like 1, 2, 3, whatever the number. It means there's like if it's three, it means like there's like three plugins on your website that need updates. And just like the core WordPress update, if you have staging environment, because the exact same idea, updating your plugin might break. I haven't seen a lot, but it does happen. Usually with very old plugins that's you haven't updated in like years, and you update them, and then boom, your website stop working. So staging environment is great, and as I said, I will talk a little bit about the staging environments when I talk about the hosting provider. So uh, number three. This is like a lot of people like oversight or like don't pay attention to this, and it's very easy to do and very powerful is users on your WordPress website. So the admin is there are like different levels of access you can give to users on WordPress. Admin is the highest. As an admin, you literally can do anything and everything on your website. So one thing you want to do is limit people with admin users, right? As minimal as possible. There is other roles you can do like editor, so they can go and edit pages. They can be authors only, create content. They're like different, the default ones are the different roles that you can assign. So limit the admin access as much as possible. The other one is when you do a WordPress from by default, there is a user called admin. Highly recommend remove that user, but before removing it, you want to create a new one, a new, like for instance, in this screenshot, it says help admin, right? A different username that has admin and have admin access to your website, and then remove the default one admin. Why is that important? Because that you, if you keep it, you gave the hackers half piece of the puzzle, like so they know exactly what's an ad, like the username, so they just need to guess what's the password. And by guessing, I mean like bots running like 24/7 to try to guess what's the password. So remove the admin, that will help like huge time. And I know maybe you heard that 5 million times before is strong passwords and two-factor authenticator. And you hear it a lot because it works. I know it could be a little bit sometimes pain to use like strong passwords or two-factor authenticator, but they do work, and that will minimize the access, like hacking access by a lot. So there are like a couple plugins we can recommend for both like the 2FA and the strong passwords. And by the end of the this call, we will send a follow-up email with all of the resources we're gonna talk about in this session. Okay, just gonna pause for a second before moving to the other one to see if you have any questions so far. Otherwise, I'm just gonna keep going. And as I said, these like the idea behind this session is just like very basic, simple steps anyone could do to like now to secure your website to the next level. Okay, gonna move to the fourth step. So this is what I was talking about earlier, the web access firewall, or is WAF. So that basically it's kind of like a firewall, but for your website. And usually, not usually, how it works is when people trying to come to your website, they will come here first to that web firewall. The web firewall will treat and assess if you are a good request, good people, or a hack, and then either grant you access to go to the website or no. So this is even before coming to the website. There are a lot of web access firewalls right there. We personally love and work a lot with Cloudflare. One, because they have a free plan that you can apply, which I believe will, at bare minimum, that's what you should do. And it will protect you from a lot of unwanted bots and hacking attempts. And also there's like a lot of other stuff that goes with Cloudflare, but only for those two, like bots and what I call deny of service. Like you should definitely consider doing Cloudflare. How it works is you go set up an account with Cloudflare. You can start with the free version. The other plans they have like I think one at 20 a month and the other like 200 and but the free is more than enough for a lot of organization. And so you go set up an account, and then they will ask you, this is where you need, it gets a little bit tricky. They will need you to update some DNS records. DNS records meaning you want to tell, let's say your domain name is abc.org. You want to tell that when someone comes to abc.org should come to Cloudflare first. They call it like a DNS record. If you work with an IT provider, like as you should, like contractor or on the team, they should easily be able to update your DNS records to point to Cloudflare. And once you set up the account, they will give you the instructions how to do it. So if you can do it yourself, great. But if you don't know how to do it, don't do it because you could take your website down. So just be careful. But once all of the traffic goes to Cloudflare, as I said, like they have like a list of security systems and security services that they will offer out of the box for you. Plus, they do some other stuff related to performance like CDN, so they will like deliver your website faster. Highly, highly recommended. There is a lot of other web firewall you can explore. The concept is all the same. I'm just like mentioning Cloudflare. We have no affiliation with them. It's just like I love the work they do and the service. I've been using them for many years. Okay. Get in time. And last one, number five, is what I mentioned earlier, is your hosting provider. So hosting provider is physically where your website is hosted, right? So if I go to abc once again .org, okay, so that's the address. That's usually how I explain it to people sometimes. So the domain name is your address, but your physical house, it's not your address, right? So the physical house is exactly where the hosting provider, that's where your files, your website physically are. And obviously you wanna have a hosting provider that is secure, reliable, and for any service provider, like I don't care if it's security for web or whatever we do, like one of my number one requirements is support. If I have problem with anything, I need to either chat, email, phone, but someone there to answer my questions. If there is a worry about something, we'll ask them. So that's like for me is like very, and I believe it's very important, especially when it comes to security, because you always need support. But at the bare minimum, like in whatever hosting provider you guys are using, you want to have at least these three bare minimum. There is like a lot of stuff, but the most important one is backups. Because that's kind of like part of your disaster recovery process. A backup, usually daily. You want to do daily. Most of the providers offer that right now. So in case something goes wrong or goes bad with your website, you can always like backup, goes to the previous backup and restore your websites. Um, SSL certificates, most of them do. So the web right now, like almost require all websites to have like a SSL certificate. And as I mentioned, like support, like you need to have like a solid support so people are there when you need them. And one I mentioned like at the previous slides is staging environments. Most of the hosting providers right now just offer it out of the box. Please explore that option. It's not as scary as it sounds. It's just like a copy of your website, but with a different URL. If your website is abc.org, the staging environment will be like staging.abc.org. That's just for you and your team to demo any updates that you don't want the public people to see, because just doing everything on live could be a little bit risky, especially if it's a busy website. I haven't mentioned here, but I will do it on the follow-up email, any specific hosting provider we work with a few of them, and it all depends on the size of the website and what you are looking for in detail. But I will share a few that we are very comfortable with. Okay, looks like we're good, because I was like thinking like the first 20 minutes we're just gonna go over these like very quick five things you could do like now, and just gonna leave like maybe the last 7, 8 minutes for any questions you guys might have. And we try to do it like as easy to digest as simple. So, but open for any questions you might have. Okay. See one. Yes. So yeah, this is a good question for backup for the hosting provider. So usually it depends on the hosting provider, but most of them, what they do on a 30 days. So you will have a daily backup for last 30 days. And then the following, at any given time. And then they delete the 31st and then they start over again. So that's usually how most of the providers will do their backup. There is also, if you want to get a little bit fancier, you can do offline backup for some of the, if you like, like extra steps. So the backup with the provider, but also they can do like offline backup on, let's say Google Drive or something. So, but usually it's a 30 days. It's a 30 days one, yeah. Okay, yeah, the 5 steps we're talking. I got this from Audra as a question. The 5 steps is, yeah, I can do like quick overview. So one, if you're using WordPress, please update your WordPress. This goes if you are using other CMS like Drupal or other ones, just update those to the latest version. Um, plugins are source of all evil. So update them, audit, remove any plugin that you don't need. uh, your users, because those usually the like granting access, right? If someone can guess or hack your username and password, then you basically just gave them the keys to your kingdom so they can do whatever they want. The extra steps is the web firewall works amazingly for bots, because the most of the attacks that will come to your website, they'll be automated, meaning it's not like one person behind, like a hacker behind a computer trying to target you. Usually, like most of the attempts will be from bots running 24/7 by whomever, and you are not even a target. It's just like they scan the internet, your website somehow will be on that list, got picked, and then they will try to hack your website. That's most of the hacking attacks. Yeah, the ones that are targeted are those, like, could be, it depends like how sophisticated the hackers are and how many resources they that's a different story. And then the hosting provider, you want to, like, that's your house, you want to make sure that you have a great hosting provider. uh what we use, so there are some hosting providers. That's one of the question was like how many like top 3 5 hosting providers you use. What I will tell you If you have full size, you need to check out the main account. Okay. So the first one, yeah, the three. I will send. I will, as I said, I will like follow up with an email, like sending all of those. But there are some specific to WordPress, like they work specifically with WordPress. So like Pantheon is one of them. It's a little bit pricey, but they have like good service. Um, there is WP Engine. We used it on and off. We use a hosting provider called, they do more than WordPress, but they have like a WordPress component called Cloudways. That's what we use for, and we're very happy with it. But then there's a lot of other options. Yeah. Yeah, for the yeah, once you another question is talking about creating Cloudflare account. If you have multiple sites, do you need separate accounts per domain, or is it like hosting? You can have one account with multiple domain. It's the latter. So you create one account and you can add you can add as many websites as you want on under one account, and that's usually how we manage most of our clients. Yeah. Opinions on Bluehost. I haven't worked with Bluehost recently, but I did in the past, and I would say they were not top on my lists. So, but that doesn't, once again, I can't talk about them right now because we're talking about like maybe like 3 or 4 years since I last worked with them. So I don't know what kind of offering they have right now and what's the level of their services. So, but with any, just like any, as I said, any hosting provider, you want to make sure that they provide at least some bare minimums or like extra stuff that you need. Backups, staging, SSL, support is very important. Like I, I always like say that because you will need them. One day you will need them. Maybe you're not gonna need them every day, but when you need them, they need to be there to support you and answer your questions. Yep. Okay, we have 2 more minutes. If you guys have any other questions. As I said, it's like very easy, simple stuff. And security is very, broad, complicated subject. Like, and there is no one thing you do to make your website or your web property secure 100%. But, there is like at least bare minimum you could do to make it more secure and harder for most of the hackers to access it. Okay. But we will, as I said, we will follow up with an email. Here are like our contact info if you have any other questions that we haven't covered. Thank you so much. And yeah, now more than ever, as I mentioned a few times, like there are a lot more hacking attacks on nonprofit websites than before. So anything we could all do together to help and support each other is much valuable. All right, Emily, I think we good. Do you all good from your end?
All good. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for
All right.
joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.